Jorge Perez Barrios, Francie Morales. Am I ruining this?
No.
Okay. Jorge Moreno, Lourdes Crespo Garitano, and they're all from West New York School District.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'd just like to begin by repeating that we're from West New York, in New Jersey, Hudson County. Francie Morales and George Perez Barrios work in the middle school and high school. George Moreno and myself, we're elementary 5th grade bilingual teachers. We're all bilingual ESL certified teachers. So we began an initiative that was started by our superintendent, Clara Herrera. She was interested in implementing the Flipped program into our district. They actually started with Francie and George, and later on she brought it to our attention in the elementary grades. We were a little hesitant at first because it's something new, something exciting. It is an interdisciplinary approach. We're all trying to move towards the STEM, or in our district she pushes for STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. And this was the perfect way to implement Flipped. We decided to start it off in the elementary grades with science. And one of the first things that we did was that we had to speak to our supervisors in the science department to find out what were the best topics that we would implement with the children. We discussed materials that we would need. We'll show you the materials later, but they were scales, microscopes, and robotics kits. The last step was to have a parent symposium, because bringing the parents on board was essential to doing the new technology. We had to meet with the parents, get them on board, to understand that children aren't going to be using the computer at home just to play. They were going to actually need them to do their work. And we have a short video. Our challenges are great in the classroom. Not only do we have the emotional learning that takes effect, but it's hard to reach all the differentiated groups that we have. You have your higher level students that might not be challenged enough. You have 70 to 90% of the class is spent on implementing in presenting the lesson, and then if children aren't getting it, you're going from group to group. It takes up a lot of our time. So actually doing the activities, your time is shortened. And like I said, differentiation is a challenge.
So, I'm pretty sure in the traditional classroom, we're probably all guilty of it. You spend a lot of time lecturing, presenting content, and often, if you've been in the classroom long enough, you get faces, creased foreheads, quizzical looks. What are you talking about?
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
You know Willis, right? You guys know familiar with Art? What are you talking about, Willis? So often we get those quizzical looks from students. What are you talking about? I don't understand, what is it they're talking about? So basically, the flipped classroom, I can go to the next slide. Flipped classroom is a very simple concept of inverting the teaching by posting things on Google Classroom. We have a Google Classroom where we will present a short video presentation of the content that we're going to present the following day. So students are already aware of what you're going to present the following day. So they're not coming to the classroom with this look of, but now they've already had, they've seen a video, a short video. You don't want a 10, 15 minute video often. It's a minute per grade level. So you want a short video of what you're going to talk about. So the next day when you are teaching, presenting the concept, they already have an idea. So what's happening now? Whereas before you get this look of like, what? When you're talking about Willis, well now, what's happening? The students at home can stop the video. They can rewind it. They don't understand it, they can go back a few times and say, okay, now I get it. So the content is viewed before class. They come to the classroom excited, engaged. We've seen that. We've seen that when we first implemented it with the science curriculum. They would come the next day and just like, we're ready to engage in activities. So now it's inverse. So instead, now it's 10 to 30% of the classroom time is spent on the review of the content that they reviewed the day before, and 70 to 90% actually in hands-on activities. And there's more time for differentiation.
I just want to say that because the children were excited that they were able to do a little bit of the learning, not book learning, but they were able to see it in a different way at home, when they're in their pajamas if they want to do it on their cell phone, if they wanted to do it on their laptop, if they wanted to do it, laying in bed while they actually were more comfortable learning that way. And those 5-minute clips that after a few days of doing it, we noticed that they were just so much more excited. And we got right into the activities instead of having to repeat the vocabulary. And as I said, we're all ESL bilingual teachers, so they already had the academic language. They were able to start implementing it right away. It was great because if I had that year, I had a lot of children that were challenges with their language. They were newcomers. We have an array in our class. We'll have first year all the way to third year language speakers. So it really made a difference when we were able to put the videos in Spanish or in English, or the children can, if it's a YouTube, they can change the language or have the subtitle. It made them feel more confident the next day.
So it's a very simple concept of flipping the classroom. It's elementary.
So the way we began, we actually started, we got lab coats for, it was from our own interest in getting the kids excited. We got lab coats, we got little lab books, little colored dollar store. That was just our input. We had lab work on it, little labels, so the children felt like they were scientists when they were going to do this activity. And at that point, a lot of the newcomers had no idea how to get into Google Classroom, so we had to teach them the process of Google Classroom and how it connects to Edpuzzle, which we'll get to in a little bit with our other presenters. Edpuzzle connects with Google Classroom. It's a site where you can download a lot of videos of whatever topic you're working on, and they can access it very quickly on Google Classroom. The second portion that was that we wrote letters to the parents, especially the parents that couldn't attend the symposium. We were able to let them know what's going on, explain to them that we need their cooperation. It was actually a two-part. This was just an informational letter. We also had a contract, which I didn't put a picture of. We signed a contract between the parents, the teachers, the students, saying this is the way we're going to be doing our science curriculum this year. Having everybody on board is essential, because once that contract was there, the kids knew, okay, this is my responsibility. The parents knew, okay, I have to be paying attention to what they're doing on the computer. I need to be part of this. And everybody was definitely supportive.
Sure, and the parents need to be aware if their students are spending a certain amount of time on the internet, that is because they're doing flipped classroom. So now, some questions that you might have, and which I initially had, well, what if they don't have access at home, internet access? Well, there are different ways to solve that. Each school can implement a time during the morning, or I imagine that everybody here has homeroom time with the students making breakfast. I mean, so videos are short, and if you have access to Chromebooks, as we do, I don't know if you do, they can view it during that time. Because the videos, again, are very short to watch. So you can implement it that way if there's no access at home. I tell my students, if you don't have access at home, excuse me, I'm a little bit under the weather, so that's one of them. If you don't have access at home, you know, library.
We actually have open access with the computer teacher as well. So it's an extended day service that we have in our building. So we work with that teacher, and he allows us to have the children do it at that time. I know that some schools do morning computers. So there's always a way. It's only a 5-minute clip. The children are gaining the language that they need. They get that main idea. And then they're able to at least participate once the activity is there. They're not going to show up and be with a blank face, which is what you're talking about comes from. So the first portion, there were 3 phases to what we had discussed with the science supervisor. The first phase was to use microscopes. And within the microscopes, we were going to be teaching them, obviously, cells, cell parts, but we were also teaching them how to use a microscope, which at this level, in 5th grade, they don't really usually have that access, at least we don't. They get that in middle school. But we wanted to get them moving along towards middle school. Children were able to work together. At that point, we were in the same school, so it was nice. We had 2 groups going into each other's classes. There was more communication happening amongst the children. The second phase was mass, volume, and density, where the children were going to be working with volume and water and weights, and it was fantastic. It was a lot more, 6th grade level, but the kids loved it. What was nice was that not only were our classes joining, but we were actually involving other classes. So when children were hearing that we were doing flipped classroom, they were like, what are you doing? Why is everybody on the computer? What are you guys working on? So classrooms around us started wanting to come in and observe our lessons. And that's what you actually see on the bottom one. They're teaching the 3rd graders what their activity was. So there was a lot of collaboration amongst other classroom teachers, monolingual and other bilingual. And the last phase was the robotics, where children were exposed to, creating, but also following directions, again, using that language that we're trying to build so desperately. And I think that's it.
Basically, this is how we implement it through science, but you can go across the board, any content level.
We've actually expanded it to social studies and math, and it's very important.
The objective of our lesson was to teach students about cells. In order to do so, we taught them about the microscope and the parts of the microscope as well as their functions. That led us into teaching them about cells, different types of cells, comparing of cells, cell parts, cell functions, as well as cell division. Flipped classroom begins by creating videos that the children will be able to view at home, in the comfort of their own home, be able to watch it as many times as they wish in order to understand the concept. The next day in the classroom, we review the material that was in the video, and then we're able to do a hands-on activity that will correlate with the video that was played. My students have loved this experience because they have been able to have a different aspect of, a teaching moment. It has a form of collaboration between parent, student, and school. The parents can now get a feel for the materials that are being taught in the classroom. They can see the activities that the children are going to be doing. It's not just about, what page are you reading tonight? It's about what are you going to do tomorrow?
Siempre llega, no tengo que ver tal video, no tengo que responder tal cosa. Entonces yo creo que eso agrega una rutina de trabajo que hace también que la tecnología se use, yo lo veo así y me interesa que sea así también, de una manera más crítica, que no es un juego. O sea, la computadora no es para jugar, la computadora es para trabajar, la computadora es para buscar información, la computadora es para usarla de esa manera crítica, ¿no? En términos del aprendizaje.
Él se siente bien emocionado por este programa que entra.
I learned about 2 types of cells.
What I learned about is the parts of the microscope.
I learned about the function of the microscope.
Lo que yo he aprendido en Flip Classroom es sobre la división de las células.
They have some organelles that are the same and organelles that are different.
Los dos tipos de la división celular son mitosis y meiosis.
This is the ocular lens.
The nucleus here.
El núcleo se separa y se sigue separando para crear 2 nuevas células.
What I enjoyed the most about Flip Classroom was that I could, when I see the video at home, I could apply it in the classroom the next day.
El beneficio de verlo en la casa es que tú lo puedes repetir muchas veces hasta cuando tú lo entiendas.
And I can pause the videos
y luego venirlo a utilizar lo que has aprendido en la clase.
When we're gonna do the topic, I can know what the teacher gonna tell me.
Puedes ver a un profesor distinto explicándote de otra manera que tú puedes entender mejor.
My favorite part of this lesson was using the microscopes.
We prepared a song to learn the part of the cell. That was really fun.
I was working in the lab late one night, when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my specimen from a slide began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, I observed some organelles. They were a classroom smash. It caught on in a flash. I saw some organelles from my laboratory in the classroom east. With my instruments where young eyes feast. The students all came from their humble abode to get a jolt from my microscope. I observed some organelles. They were a classroom smash.
I think it was exciting for the kids to be able to get a more hands-on approach in the classroom with the materials, the microscopes. We're very excited about the future lessons on volume and also robotics with STEAM.
Yeah, definitely doing Flip Classroom is a world of difference from sitting on a desk with a textbook. I mean, you cannot do science that way. So I always thought, hey, this is very tedious, just learning science, textbook science. But now they're doing hands-on. Now they're actually engaged at home, and then they come ready. That's the key. They come ready, engaged to work. They're not ready for us to prime them and get it out of them. They're already engaged at home, and they come ready for us to just draw from the knowledge that they've learned at home.
I think the kids are getting a lot of excitement working together, especially 2 different classes, working together on the materials. They have more material to talk about, they're building their language, their academic language.
Yeah, it takes a load off of our shoulders to be constantly being the lecturers all day long, teaching a subject. But now they're getting a little bit of it at home, and now we're ready to run. So a little more time management. So time in class is more
efficient.
Efficient.
we've already thought about,
Yeah.
you know, how we can incorporate it in language
Language
arts
arts.
and social studies and, you know, not just science, you know, have homework that is really what we would have been teaching them. Now they're getting it at home, they're learning it, they're coming in, and we can act it out, you know, do things.
Yeah, flip.
Flip.
Just flip that channel. Flip, baby. We're flipped about it.
Right, so that's it. If you want to hire me for a singing gig, I'm kidding. All right, so now.
Now we have middle school, high school lessons.
Hello everyone, as they presented us before, Nancy Morales from middle school and Jorge Perez from the high school. We started planning for the pilot program in January 2016 and began working with 2 small classes in February that same year. This school year, 2018-2019, we have been able to expand it to bigger classes and added, as you have seen also, other subjects. Students have been exposed to more technology and the latest online assessment tools like Edpuzzle, Google Classroom, Socrative, Nearpod, Kahoot, Storybird, and Flipgrid.
Okay, so as they've already explained, flipped classroom is the opposite of the traditional classroom. Instead of the student being in class, sitting, opening the textbook, and listening to the teacher lecture, they're doing that at home. So at home, they're watching the videos. It's 5 to 10 minute videos. They're not long. So they already get the topic before they come to class. By the time, as you see in the chart, they come to class, they already know the topic, they're ready to work in groups. They're ready to discuss. They already have questions about what they didn't understand or what they didn't do. At times when students go home and do homework, especially with the English language learners, they're scared to ask, or they don't know what to ask, or they don't know how to ask. So with the videos, as they said, they're able to rewind, they're able to watch it again. They can Google, they can use the resources that we provide to them so that they're able to clear any questions, and by the time they come to class, they actually have content questions and not simple, basic, I didn't understand this part, or what do you mean with this? It's actually deep discussion that we can have more well thought out for the lessons. And what we did, George and I, we actually recorded videos together. So it is a lot of work. Like, you know, with preparing it, it's not like you just go and start it. You have to like set it up. So we recorded videos, we researched videos. You could recycle a lot of videos from other topics, other teachers have done it, implement. There's audio videos that you could just use. So some videos we just added our audio to it. We use PowerPoints that we recorded, we use Powtoons, animations. So we do make it interesting for the students. It's not just your face lecturing to them. You actually use animation so that they want to watch the videos and that they're interested. The one main one that we still use is Edpuzzle, which George is going to explain, but that's what our students know from the beginning. Edpuzzle, it's the main program that we use their videos for.
Yes, Edpuzzle is a free online assessment tool. It's free online assessment tool that allows the teacher to insert a quiz after each checkpoint, and it gives the students instant feedback. This website, Edpuzzle, has a huge library of ready-to-use videos with quizzes, annotations, and voiceovers. Another amazing option is that Edpuzzle has partnered with other educational video platforms like Khan Academy, LearnZillion, National Geographic, Tech Talks, Veritasium, Numberphile, Crash Course, which is part of PBS, Vimeo, and if this is not enough, it's also linked to YouTube.
So what we did, we assigned their students the homework to watch the videos. But again, as an urban district, we do have the struggle of students that don't have computers, or especially newcomers, that they don't have a cell phone yet, they don't know how to watch the videos, how do they have the technology? So what we, in the middle school, we were lucky, we have a before school and after school program. So all students that were in the flipped classroom program had to come in the morning, or they had to come after school for 5 or 10 minutes just to watch the video. If they had any questions, we all use the app Remind, which is easier to use at a higher level. It's a little bit harder for the younger kids, but it's basically like a text message system that you can connect with your students without using your phone number. So they can send you a text message. So a lot of times some students couldn't open the videos, or they wanted to open it from their cell phone, or they're borrowing someone's computer and they couldn't log in. So instantly they could just message us to Remind and tell us what's the login, or what email do I have to use, or the website's not working. So any technology issues we were able to address prior to getting into the class. So Remind was a great way to communicate, and not only with the students, but also with the parents. Some parents had questions and they wanted to know, like, oh, what's this video about? Are they allowed to watch it? We posted some of our videos on YouTube, so it could be easier access also from a cell phone, because some applications that we were doing on the cell phone, you couldn't have it. You needed like a Chromebook or a desktop to open it. So the Remind was a great way, and the students, they loved it. They enjoyed it. They watched it from their booklets or any tablets that they had. They were able to just take all that they could from it.
As you know, in traditional classes, if a student has difficulty understanding a concept in the lecture, he or she is forced to slow down the rest of the class by interrupting and asking for additional clarification, or simply do his or her best to keep up and ask for guidance at the end of the class. In contrast, in flipped classrooms, students can review or replay the part of the video they're having trouble with understanding as many times as they need. They're able to come to class. If they continue to have issues, they are able to come to class prepared with specific questions about specific concepts they have trouble understanding.
With our students watching the videos, a lot of them expressed to us and their feelings were, it's like they enjoyed the group work or even watching it together. Sometimes they wanted to watch it as a class. So it did happen where at times you wanted to start the project, but just a reminder, you could just watch the video one more time before we do it, or watch it again, or they could watch it together. In the middle school also, we have a lot of activities after school where they could join. And a lot of the teachers, when we started the classroom as a pilot, a lot of teachers were like, it's so much work, you have to do the videos, you have to record, it's extra time, which it is, but also you gotta think of the benefits afterwards. You're not assigning all this homework, like once the videos are done, you're not checking everything, you're in class working with them. You're spending the time correcting them, or if they don't understand anything. So what we also tried to do is we implemented to extracurricular activities. So in the environmental club, we have a lot of like cooking club or like basketball or sports. So the one program that I started Flip Classroom with was the environmental club, because a lot of the English language learners were coming from different countries that they're big with planting. They know about farming, they were interested, they wanted to continue that. So in our own backyard, we started to create a garden bed. And a lot of them were into construction, and all of a sudden they're in class and they're interested, they want to do it, they want to learn. So they were able to watch the videos prior to coming to the club. They were learning how to plant, what's compost, what's the seedlings. We actually did it after school, and we were able to meet some Saturdays, and it's hard to get students in on Saturdays, but you'll be surprised how many came in because we were building a garden outside of our school and they wanted to do it. And some of them that had the construction background or they seen it, so in class we like mapped it out, we did it, and then once they came, it was all hands on. So as soon as they came in, it was working. There was no need to explain, or what's the first step, because through Flipped Classroom, we were already able to explain the process. Then also with the Flipped Classroom, they're able to learn about the topic, but their curiosity grows. They're able to research more videos. They could learn about different things that they want to keep going. And once they come in, they were telling me about compost and how we could all of a sudden get worms and add that to our garden and how it's going to make it better or how that's going to help. So their interest just grew deeper and deeper into any topic, and this could apply to any extracurricular activity. Aside from their interest, it also builds leadership and their confidence grows. A lot of these English language learners don't know how to pronounce or are still speaking English, or they're scared to stand in front of people and just talk. But this year, they presented to the whole school. They wanted to show what we created. So they had an assembly where they wanted to present, and they told me, like, let's do it. They were looking forward to it. So they were eager to share their thoughts. They wanted to teach other students. We had an after-school activity where it's like a family night, and the students were teaching parents and were telling them what we did in environmental club and that they could do at home, or that we could work with them.
Results from Flipped Classroom show promise. There is growing evidence that the Flipped Classroom model can improve student achievement in nearly any subject. Our results show that the students love this new method. They were engaged at all times, and they felt they learn more.
So overall, as you could see, it was 60% that everyone felt they learned a lot. Because they come in, they don't want to listen to you. So overall, with flipped classroom, there's studies that show that it does make a difference. It's a successful program that does benefit and it engages the students in the classroom. Okay, and this was just our classes that we started with the middle school and the high school. As George said, we implemented in the middle school, we have different levels of the newcomers, the intermediate, the advanced. We started with the higher level, but if you bring it into the beginner's class or the intermediate, that's where I've seen the most growth, because now they're listening to the language they can pronounce. They come to school already having the vocabulary background to use in the classroom.
As all successful projects, support must come from the top. This program wouldn't have been possible without a constant guidance and support from the 2 district supervisors of bilingual English as a second language and world languages. The assistant superintendent of curriculum instruction, the administrative supervisor of educational programs, the technology department, and of course the superintendent of schools of West New York. We thank them for their support and for approving this program. And in order to finish our presentation, we have a 2-minute video that we'd like to show you that summarizes what the flipped classroom meant for them in the middle school and the high school, and for us as well. We will answer any questions at the end of the video, so thank you very much and enjoy.
With a flipped classroom, I feel I have a lot more control when I get to do my work. I have a lot more time.
I have a lot more time to get it all done, and also it's easier to learn the material with the notes online.
And to do the work in class.
The flipped classroom is a flipped version of the traditional classroom because we receive instructions through videos at home. And in class, we discuss things we learn from watching the video.
When I am at home, I can pause the lesson and I can always review the video and view it again and again until I understand it.
Flipped classroom is a new learning style where I can take the learning into my own hands. I enjoy the lessons and I understand everything.
I feel that I can learn at my own pace because no one is rushing or going too slow, and I do not have any distractions or any other students interrupting.
We can watch the lessons from anywhere.
During study hall.
From the couch.
Even from my bed.
With my iPhone.
With my smartphone or my tablet.
In El Pozo, we take a quiz after each checkpoint.
Oh, you can skip the video. Instead of having the teacher talking for a long time,
we watch the lesson the afternoon or the evening before.
The teacher does a quick review and we get to work immediately.
We definitely have more time to work. We use many online and mobile apps like at Puzzle.
Nearpod.
Sakai.
Google Classroom.
Storybird.
Kahoot, my favorite.
The flipped classroom is interactive.
Online.
Collaboration.
Teamwork.
It's fun.
It's the future.
The future is now.
Questions?
So, now when you were doing these tapes on your own time?
Well, we were able to, we did have common planning time. We did have that. So it is, you do it on your time, we did common planning, and we also got extra time allotted to ourselves just to work on it, but yes.
And if I can add to that, you don't have to create your own videos.
Right.
I personally have not created
We have not. Edpuzzle has a plethora of choices.
Anything you want.
Any topic that, as you can see, he had posted, you know, what was that slide? Can you show that? Where it showed that Edpuzzle is connected with National Geographic and YouTube, educational YouTube, so it's safe. And, you know, there's just so much information. Anything that you can think of will just pop up. And what's nice about Edpuzzle is that you can actually edit. So you have the option of, you know, shortening the clip, just picking the clip that you like. that the section that you like. You can add questions if there aren't enough questions. So that was that little picture that showed how the questions come up that the little boy, and you can't skip. So a child can't just click to the end. They actually have to take. Yeah, they have. Yes.
So I can go to Impulse now and look at it? Or
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Well, you just log in. It's free with your teacher account. You can log in.
When you click on content, you'll see all these websites there.
Yes.
Or create your own.
Yes, and we didn't go crazy. We created maybe like 2 or 3 in the beginning, but I feel also with the SEL, it's nice for the students to see you or like,
or hear
you. So sometimes at first they were shocked. They're like, that's your voice in the video. So, if you don't have to do a lot, you just do 1 or 2 or 3, but it's just for the students to know that you're there. It's not just a random, video here or there, but Edpuzzle definitely would be the best. Because
it hasn't gotten to that point with us, but we found that it's nice for them to get another presenter to speak. Sometimes kids tend to hear you and they're like, wah, 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 like Snoopy's teacher. You don't hear anymore. But when it's someone else,
I don't know about you, they like to hear me.
When it's someone else, can you tell who the joker is? You can tell that they're interested in hearing another version of the same topic.
Right. So there were students with English as a second language.
All of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So was it in English or in Spanish?
Both.
Well, wherever the
You
language
can do both. We actually.
Okay, and then the children come to class and you discuss it in English?
We teach bilingual. Okay. So we're ESL and bilingual certified. So in our class, we might have children who are Arabic. We might have children who are Indian. Whoever it is that's an ESL student would come to our 5th grade class. But full day, we have our multi-level Spanish speakers. So you have new entrants all the way to almost exiting, bridging.
So the student that's Arabic, what do you do?
So that would be for the middle school, high school, we have the ESL period, which is English only, and that's when we have the Arabic, the, Asians or any other language that's only English. The bilingual would be the English-Spanish, and that's how we. That's in the middle school, high school.
Okay. We do not have that. See, so that's why they started with them, but with ours, they had to tweak it a little bit. It doesn't work that way. We have them all in our language arts class. And so during that time, we specifically we have our differentiated groups. So an Arabic student or an Indian student, obviously we're not going to speak Spanish to them. They would be, which is really nice about this, because now with the headphones, they can listen to it all in English. We can meet as a group, guided reading or whatever the topic is, and we can focus on that. Then with the Spanish group, we would have to differentiate, and they can listen to their video in Spanish. We can discuss it with them in Spanish, away from the English speakers.
So with these programs, is there a capability to put it in Arabic? Are they set that way?
There is, especially with the YouTube function.
You can change it.
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah,
and you don't need Edpuzzle. You can do that.
The number one language to check is Edpuzzle. They have already.
They're connected.
Other teachers created the videos with the quizzes, so you don't have to do anything. If you don't find anything that suits your class, then you select from other libraries like Flash Course, Number File, YouTube, TikToks, and then you can insert the question. Very simple. You just play the video, you stop it, you pause it, and it says insert quiz. And then you have 3 options, multiple choice, like to write a open-ended and true or false.